Hello.
How are you today?
Good.
Thank you for joining us today for this segment. It's called Young Achiever. We look forward to having a wonderful interview.
Same.
So, kindly introduce yourself.
Uh, um, Kafedi Kendungo, aka Impesa, Coach Ken, from Babadogo, born and raised. Yes, True Talents of Africa and Raraka Sports Academy.
Okay. So, did you always know that you wanted to be a coach?
Not really. Uh, it's a beautiful coincidence as to how I ended up as a coach. One, maybe how my parents raised me. They never wanted me in football. So I was that rebellious kid. And two, wanting the young community members to have a different stories as ours. So we had to find a unique way of coaching so that they can have a different story from ours.
Beautiful. So, you mentioned that your parents did not want you to be a coach or to be in football.
Sure.
How did they react when you decided to be a coach?
I think I'm a hard-headed one. Started with my elder brother who was so good at football than me, but for some reason he stopped playing. So my parents knew the cycle is the same. And also come and stop. Took me to a boarding school. Actually, I was to go to Norway when I was selected in 2001. I was supposed to go in 2002. Then that 2002, I was taken to boarding so that I cannot make the other move. That is how hard my parents didn't want me to go. And they knew by the time maybe I'm class 6, I will stop it. But I think I had too much pain in me, so I decided to go the opposite direction as what they thought.
How did you deal with that, with your parents not making sure that you did not go to Norway?
I don't know, I was a kid, so I just dealt with it just like anyhow any kid will deal with it. I was angry with them, I was rebellious. Uh, Now maybe I know better because they didn't understand the sports world as much. But yeah, that it took a lot of years. Me and my parents, especially my dad, we were worlds apart, considering he's a Starehe alumni.
Okay, so how did you get into coaching now? What was the journey, the exact journey?
Mm, my mother's wisdom, per se. So my mom knew how much I was invested into football. So along the way, I think it was in campus where I started showing interest of coaching. I've always been told I'm good with kids, so I'll find myself in the pitch trying to give young kids instruction. Not that time we didn't even have a team. I would just find kids playing and start that way. Then when we started the Roraka Sports Academy, my mom will tell me. My mom is a Christian ndani, so she would tell me, you know what, Ken, not everybody will fit in a pulpit. You can use the field as your pulpit. And yeah, so the uniqueness of our program is it mentors young men into good characters and closer to God.
It's beautiful. So you said Ruaraka Academy?
Roraka Sports Academy.
Ruaraka
That is
Sports
where I
Academy.
started.
Wow, beautiful. So what is your coaching philosophy? You said that your academy is unique and how you coach is unique. So how exactly is it unique?
I wouldn't rather put it as a philosophy, but I'll mention pillars that I have in all my coaching. For one, discipline is the pillar. We have academics, and then we have God. Our connection to God is a pillar.
That's beautiful. So what strategies do you employ to motivate and inspire your players?
I think maybe being real with them and being a role model to them. Like with young kids, they do a lot what they see you do than what you tell them do. Okay, So if you tell them study and you coach who haven't studied, then they're smart. They will not tell you, but it will connect at some point. So yeah, so the biggest thing I do with them is just to lead by example. Yeah.
Beautiful. Tell us more about the Ruaraka Sports Academy. When was it founded? How many people are you coaching at the moment? And how far have they gone?
So how did Rusa come to be? As I told you, we wanted the players to have different stories. So if you ask me my story of my playing days, most of my friends that we played together, they either dead in prison or in drugs. That will be my story. So we wanted them to have a different narrative. So whereby we do not want them to say, oh, my teammates are in prison, oh, my teammates are in drugs. So we decided when we have this team, this academy, FIFA says that in a group of 100, 5% make it professionally, and in Africa, 1% make it. So our approach was not on the 1 or 5%, it was on the 100%, whether you make it as a footballer or not. But you have good character and you're closer to God. Yeah, so when Rusa started, it started while I was in second year. I approached some of my friends, like Steven Dongo, who's a great mentor. So we had the skeleton, we started coming up with the full skeleton, then come put the meat slowly by slowly. So after graduation in 2015, the academy started. We started without anything. Borrowed ball. We didn't have, if you check on our website, our Facebook, you'll see. We didn't have markers, we used stones as markers. But we knew what we really wanted. So have kids play. The football part is a point of interaction. But now we empower them with the relevant social skills, life skills, and the word of God.
That is beautiful. So, how many students or children have you mentored so far? How many have gone through your sports academy?
I'm not sure of the exact number, but at some point we were over 100. Because we also try to mentor some young coaches into the fold. The only challenge with the Kenyan system is coaching at that level ain't having some monetary gains or monetary back to the pocket. So the young coaches, kind of had to look for other means for them to put their food on their table. Yeah, but how Rusa now works, we start with a young group. We move with them. We start from the age of 8, 9. We journey with them up to the age of 17, 18, 19. We act as feeder to other teams, then start the journey all over again. Like now in April, we're going to start the journey all over again.
So, when is the intake? If someone wants to join Rooster, how do they do it?
April, we're starting with the second cohort actually.
Oh wow! So the intake is always in April.
Yes and no. It depends with the moment.
Wow, that's beautiful. So, how do you assess the strengths and weaknesses of individual players? And how do you train them, bearing this in mind that they have different strengths, different weaknesses, different skill levels? So, how do you train them?
No, funny enough, with Rusa, we do not try to associate with someone's strength. We want to associate with their potential. You know, we like to see how much we can add into you rather than how much you already have. Yeah, so every time we have a group of people, we have individuals, we always try to see how best can we add value to this young man. So yeah, for us it's all about matter of adding rather than what someone has.
So, how do you foster the team chemistry and unity among players?
Reverse psychology. You know, like I told you, football is a point of interaction. So this is something we did practically and it worked. If we really entirely focused on football, we would have lost a good number of the players. But you see now the approach was much more than their character, their discipline, their relation to God. We did a lot of sense of community responsibilities. So all these activities that are non-football kind of increase the bond. Now, even when it comes to the pitch, Rusa did not have the best of qualities individually. But for years, we became champions in Babadogo under the Maisa just because we were strong as a team. We were strong as a team than individuals. So individually, we didn't have the best of qualities. But now when you came as a team, now you will feel Rusa.
That is beautiful. So how do you handle team discipline and conflict?
In maybe 2 words, experiential learning. In wherever it's Rusa or True Talents of Africa, I approach everything in an experiential learning. At some point in the national team, I used to be called the why coach, coach why, because every time I'll ask someone, why do you think you did this? Why would you have not done that? Why? Okay, at times you let someone experience the mistake, then you, okay, now, why did you do this? Then tell the coach, I did that. Okay, why did you not do this? What will you have done better? So it's rather than letting, just like how an egg gets life from within than from outside. So for us, it's a matter of not giving them answers, but guiding them to the answer.
Beautiful. That is profound. You mentioned True Talents of Africa.
Yes.
Tell us more.
So True Talents of Africa is an amazing academy by a great mentor, Kimathi Kombudo, who is our boss. He's visionary in a way that for him, he is now using the academy to give opportunities to young players abroad or rather where their dreams are. So if you ask me, it's one of the best bridging academy we have in Kenya. Yes.
And is there a way for kids from Rusa to join True Talents of Africa?
Yeah.
There's a bridge?
Yeah, there's, at the moment we're speaking, there are, I think 1 or 2 players from Rusa were in TTA.
Wow. So at what capacity are you involved with True Talents of Africa?
I'm a coach at True Talents of Africa. So the difference, Rusa is a matter of giving back to the community. True Talents, of course, it helps pay the bills, you know. But I wouldn't be at TTA if I hadn't been at Rusa, because my experience, my coaching knowledge, large part of the foundation, a bit of it, I got it at Rusa, and then now fits well with True Talents. I always tell my boss I was so lucky to meet a boss like him who, because my coaching style is a bit slow, but directional. So you could, from the outward, you could be wondering what is happening. But then 2, 3 years later, now you're like, okay. So you need someone who is patient and understanding, and someone who understands. Now, because when you see, like when you're asking someone, why did you do this? You're trying to guide him. So it will be slower for him or her to arrive to that decision. But when you tell him, now you should do this, that's a bit quicker. But the offset or the difference of it is you should have done this. The next time you'll be doing because of you as a coach. But if you guide them, they'll be doing it for themselves.
Yeah. And they will not miss all these lessons.
Yes,
There's so
yes.
many lessons
Yeah,
in the getting to the answer. Wow, that is profound. Wow. You also mentioned the national team and being at the national team. So tell us more about that.
I'll speak of the deaf national team. I'm the assistant coach of the women deaf national team.
Please say that louder.
I'm the assistant coach of the deaf national team for the women's team.
Wow. Wow. Please put a soundtrack here, clapping.
These were.
Thank you. So tell us more about that. That is very profound because the deaf, first deaf, and then the women.
Yes.
Come on. Come on. You're doing the work. Tell us more.
So in Rusa again, Rusa is the crowd of everything. Rusa, we had 2 deaf players. We have 2 deaf players, Job and Derek. So I had to teach myself sign language so that you can be able to give instruction. Because for us, we have no special treatment. And so someone saw me somewhere coaching with science. And then he had networks elsewhere. Then coach, could you send us your email? The next thing is an invitation to the national team. And that is, yeah, so Dirango did that.
Wow. Kindly sign something to them, to the team. Tell them I love them. Tell them Nema loves you guys.
Nema,
Loves
I
you
don't know if
guys.
you can see her. What's your sign name?
My
Your sign name, so Nema loves you all.
Thank you. Thank you. That is beautiful. Do you think, now that you've mentioned the deaf and women, do you think, as an industry, sports, and even just as a society, Kenya, do you think we're doing enough to be inclusive? Do you think we're even trying?
It's a tricky question because I will say yes and no in this sense. If I believe there's a lot to be done. Maybe there's something that is being done or has been done, but I feel it's more or less like a drop in an ocean. There's a lot that could be done. I'll give an instance of a case I have in Babadogo. There's a lady who was her daughter, so young, I think 8, 9, 10 years. Her getting where she can go be tested the ears is a challenge. The school that is there, it's a lot of money for, and it's a public school to speak of, being told that she has to have full amount to have her daughter there. So you find there's something that is being done, but it's so tiny, and there's a lot that can be done, especially on sensitization of this community. It's a very beautiful community, by the way. It's a very, very beautiful community. In terms of, like now, football side, they're trying to have a league, a deaf league, but it has a lot of challenges. Of course, to run anything you need money, other support, but it's difficult for them to get it. You could say maybe people are shying away from it, or rather maybe the management of this community need to do better. But then again, I still feel just like any other thing else, the government is the major stakeholders. So I feel the government has a lot to do.
Okay. So, are there any biases or stereotypes that you've encountered being in sports?
Yeah, one, the way we coach, the way I coach, and where I come from. At some point at the early stage, wacha kuletea vitu za wazungu, because you try to do things, take kids to the library. If someone does not do this, does not play, no matter how good he is. So that could be, I like to call it as a challenge that we get. What else? For the deaf, it's quite a big challenge. Even assembling a full team ya deaf, it's quite a big challenge because even parents wanaficha watoto, hawataki waonekane. So yeah, of course challenges kosangi.
So, what are some of the main highlights of your career?
Main highlights. Deaf Olympics, last year but one. We did it in Brazil. We were the champions in Africa the previous year, 2021. Last year, Russia Cup semi-finalist under 17, but not the deaf. No, that is under True Talents of Africa. We were doing a debut of the under 17.
And you got to the semi-finals?
Yeah, and the biggest of all is seeing players getting opportunities through talent. Like now we have someone like Gordon Otieno in KU, Gomez in KU and the FC Leopard, Bernard Maeri in MKU and playing for Hot Stars. There's Ali who is in Oman now, Kula Kakitu. There's Cedric in Poland. Angela went to USA on scholarship just the other month, January 4th. So such moments are my highlights. Yeah.
So have you seen the attitudes of parents change from when you started training these kids and now they've grown up and they've gotten these opportunities? And the community around as well, have you seen the attitude towards sports and football?
Yeah, largely, big one. Just like I told you, why I wouldn't hold grudge on my dad is because he didn't know better or he didn't understand the football world. And just any other human being does that. You cannot share from an empty cup, or you do not know what is not in your cup. So most people did not understand the whole scope of football. So you find wanakutumianga kama litmus. Okay, imeingiana, okay, now I want my kid there, you know, that way. So when Rusa started, there was a lot of, the kids will get lost, watapotelea kwa bangi, kwa kiwanja, nini. But now when they start seeing, we had the largest number of kids go on scholarship high school, like 17 weren't paying for scholarship in high school, or rather 14 were paid full, 3 were on partial. Now we have kids in universities that are paying, they're on scholarship, either full or partial. So now parents are like, now we want that. Even now, like the second cohort, parents are like, we want our kids. We want our kids there. So even in our family, now my dad is a big fan of football. So it's a big shift, actually. Yeah.
That is beautiful. So generally now, the Kenyan sports industry, is it growing? And why are we not producing more international players? Why do you think, in fact, this is a pain point for me, why do you think we did not qualify for AFCON?
We were banned.
Okay. Okay.
But I think Kenya will produce a lot of international talent. But the question is, how are we going to tap into them? How are we going to have them with us? And everything now goes down to the management. Trying to look for a good example. It's like a farmer who has tilled his land. So then, even without doing much focus on it, they'll still grow, but together with the weeds. So you need to remove the weeds, then you need to harvest, you need to store it. You need to take good care of your land and of your crops. So the same thing. I think we need to take good care of our sport, that is the land. Then our harvest is the players. So we also need to take good care of our players. If you check the SRC rate, I think Ababu increased it, but prior it was like 750 shilling a day. So you call someone who's playing in England, then come give him 750 shilling a day, and then his club is paying him tens of millions a month. Do you think akikuja Kenya atajituma? Haizi jituma. You tell someone come play for Kenya, but yet tikiti unajilipia. Of course, I know there should be that angle of patriotism, but to what extent? You also become patriotic to something that you feel ownership to. How many players out there do they feel ownership of Kenya? I goes down again to the management, because do you know how much the award ya KPL iko if you win a league? It's 4.55 million hapo. A team spends 20-30 million a season, then ukuja wape 5M. Of course, award haifai kukuwa more than expenditures, hata EPL inakuanga hivyo, but it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. So management too. Management ikijichanganua, vitu zitakuwa poa.
Do you think we have a bias towards athletics? Because as much as they do have a lot of challenges as well and they speak about it, there's a way we can see sponsorship, we can see at least there's something.
I wouldn't say it's biased, because athletics is more of an individual sport. Some ukijituma athletic, ask those athletes, wengine wanajilipia tikiti, most of them actually. you know, but wakienda huko sasa ataenda kujirepresentia ka Tanui ama ka nani ana represent Kenya, you know, and anything good attracts, unajua. But sasa hapa Kenya no, football it's a team sport, and team sport it entails a lot, even in terms of the training facility nini, accommodation ya mtu mmoja na accommodation ya watu 30, it's a different ball game. So I wouldn't say it's biased, but to some level it's biased. Kama how much is vested in golf, seriously, you know. Hey, ukiangalia do inawekwa kwa golf, na I think ilikuwa Uhuru and Kibaki both walieka kwa millions, hundreds of millions kwa golf. Ganji maybe ataingekwa kwa ball, but yet again, why ayekwe kwa ball? Management pia yetu ya ball, management pia, if you cannot manage 1 shilling, how will you convince me you can manage 10 shilling?
So sad, so sad. Is anything being done, like we normally see even in local games, here, KPL, the local league, people really don't turn up, or they turn up for some teams. Like there's a very clear difference, but a lot of people actually do not go, and they don't even watch Kenyan football. So do you think there's anything being done to shift the attitudes of Kenyans towards sports, but specifically towards football? Because people do go to watch rugby, but they do not go to watch football as much. Or if they go, it's for specific teams. So do you think anything is being done?
Before we go to if there's anything specific being done, you should understand why are people going to rugby, not football. Why football in England people go, but Kenya tuendi? It's because of what are you selling? Football is a business. What are you selling? If you tell me yes, you want me to come watch 22 grown-up men chasing a ball, that is what you're selling me only, I can watch it on telly. Okay? But the biggest difference, if you, like you said, rugby and Europe, they sell the experience. That is, we should find a way to package our football that it's a wholesome experience, that an experience that you're looking towards to. Experience in sense that if you go to rugby, for instance, you find there's music, there's some other things on the side, okay, maybe alcohol, maybe soft drinks, maybe, you know, you're selling an experience. What I know in Kenya, money is, people can go to sports. There's this artist who came, people paid 20,000 Ngong Road somewhere, Nailija. Okay, so people can go watch matches. Then what is the experience? Now you ask me to go watch a game at Annex. Annex doesn't have even seats. So should I come stand for 2 hours? You know, what is the experience? I'll prefer wait KBC, show me the game on telly, Somerset branch. Because not even me, I only go to matches because I'm a coach, 1, and 2, I love seeing players that I've coached play. But how many people have that? You know? So again, you tell me to go to a match, Shaban and Gor Mahia. Have you catered for the security? Will I go then nikuwe mteja jioni? You know, so if we find a way to package it and sell that product that is well packaged, and the main focus be the experience. If you sell the experience, football will grow. Look at, have you seen a match in Western last year, second term, the ball game, the high school ball games? They were flocked. Stadiums zilikuwa zinajaa. Mbona KPL tunashindwa kujaza stadi? Because pia juzi polisi wameka game, wameka 3,000, 2,000 I think 15, but haikujaa. Kwa nini? I understand police angle yao, walikuwa wataka kufanya control management since wako home, but kwa nini haikujaa? Unaniekea VIP alafu unaniekea kiti ya plastic 3,000, and then nikuje tu ni watch. Sio 3,000 niende maeneo nikule kanyama kangu na ni watch game kwa teli. So there's sell the experience, what I just study.
What would you say to a young Kenyan who wants to be a coach someday?
Actually, three things. One, be true to yourself. I've seen so many young coaches coming into this game to take advantage of young kids. Okay. Um, Two, patience. If you have patience, you're becoming true to yourself. Because personally, it took me like 7, 8 years to start earning out of coaching, and those 7, 8 years coaching football ilikuwa inakula pesa yangu, you know. And then it was real patience, and then yeah, the third one, education. Kama coach lazima ukule kitabu. You cannot share from an empty cup, so you have to keep on adding. You have to keep on adding. That way you're setting a good example to your players, and like I told you when you started, young kids do what they see you do than what you tell them. So those three things.
So, what are your long-term goals as a soccer coach?
Maybe become one of the best coaches in Africa. Yeah, for real though. Yeah. I think that is my longest, and to keep doing it as long as God wants me to do it.
Beautiful. Who do you look up to? Who are some of the coaches you look up to? I hope Senegal's coaches were.
Cisse? No.
He's also a good
I
case
have,
study on
I have,
patience.
I have. You've put me on a hot spot because most KPL coaches are my friends. But I'm going to tell you the two coaches I rank the most in Kenya. One, Gabriel Njoroge Kingi. I don't know even if he knows it, but there's a way he motivates players that player anaweza itoa ndani. You find yourself giving your best without him. Modo, he's cool, calm, collected. He's that kind of coach who, even if things are burning down, you'll never see him melter-skelter, blah, blah, blah. He's always cool, calm, collected. He knows how to handle players. I'll give a good example. You could see you have player A who is always good, but today is not good. The first thing as coaches, we're like, leo hataki kujituma. They're like, hey, wait, jitume. You end up shouting a lot. But for Modo, and I learned that from him, when you have a bad day in office, he'll call you aside. Is everything okay? So now, the moment that happens, there's that human touch. And that is one of the biggest thing I learned. Hata sijui kaa najua nililearn kutoka kwake, but yeah, I just thank him that way. And if you check, everywhere Modo has gone, he has been a captain. Yeah, so although Coach Kanu, that's a very good coach. Coach Okumbi, very good coach. Kimanzi, yeah. So there's so many good coaches out there. Only these two have ranked them, not necessarily also because of football, but especially on their human touch. Yes.
What about on the continent, worldwide?
What's the name of this coach? The South African coach. I've forgotten the name, and I follow him so much. He's a very good coach. The other one I wouldn't say because of he's our coach at Manchester, because I followed him even when he was in Ajax. Ten Hag. Again, how he coaches. Because when I follow a team, I do not follow the field action only. I even follow the behind the scenes. If you see what Ten Hag is doing, is similar to what Ferguson did, whereby, of course, we are here playing the match, but we're also cooking here behind, and then for some reason, I feel he's bringing back the Manchester culture. It's a very good culture. And now I'm going to tell you this that I see most coaches do that is a big mistake. Most coaches do not have steady culture in their teams. Like, Of course, anyway, there's culture, but you find most coaches, their culture is them. Like when coach is not there, everything imesimama, or there's a go slow, you know. But I feel a good coach is that coach mwenye, even if he's not there, things are flowing as if he is there. I'll tell you a good example in Rusa. In our curriculum at Rusa, there are days that coaches, you put yourself absent. But absent, at the age of under 13, there's a phase of, a week? Combine them, it's almost a week, that you have to put yourself absent. But uko tu kwa kiwanja umejificha mahali, you just observe what are they doing, or either you tell someone ni observia watu wanafanya nini, that way. And if you see, of course, when they start, they will not do it exactly, but that is when you start gauging yourself. How deep is the culture that you want to inculcate in the team? So, and that is why I also rank Tenner, because you see how he handled Sancho issue. Similar thing came with Rashford, but Rashford was quick to apologize. Sancho wasn't. You see now, it shows something is being worked upon, something in India. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a very random question. Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp?
Pep or Klopp? I'll go with Klopp.
Why?
Again, maybe because of who I am as a coach. I don't like coaching with fear. Okay. Pep coaches, I feel, I may be right, I may be wrong. Pep coaches with fear in a way that he has a big pool of talented players. So if you don't do it, Nani will do it. But maybe you're not doing it because you have some things disturbing you, you know. But again, I tell you, these coaches, I follow a lot of their behind the scenes. Klopp will create a relationship with these players. He will. There was an instant Klopp. I don't know if he invited Alison Becker. He went to Alison Becker's house with a glass of wine. So he's trying to create a relationship with players. If you follow what he does, he creates a good relationship with players. Plus, he's a Christian. He speaks out of it publicly. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so as we wind up, what are some of the essential qualities for a successful soccer coach?
Be real to yourself. Be true to yourself. Be patient. Add knowledge.
Wow. Well, one final word. What inspires you? What quote, book, person?
Wherever Kim is, will love this. Coaches, we coach what we know, but we produce who we are. It's that way.
That's beautiful. Okay, that's it from us. Thank you for joining
Thanks,
us
man.
today. Thank you for
Shukran.
making the time for this.